Okay, welcome to Clark's Code, and we're going to be looking at some questions that Connor's been asked to look at as part of his course in software engineering.
I keep telling them I don't need homework, it's fine. But they insist on giving it to me.
They know something you don't know, Connor.
So we're going to look at this and see if we can't make any sense of it.
Okay, so we're going to look at the first task, number 1 on that list, and we should mention that all of this is in Python. So you're looking at working through this in Python.
But it's applicable. If it's the logic, it may be applicable even if the code is slightly different for something like JavaScript or your CPP, something like that. A for loop is the same logic, whatever language it's going to be in, even if the words are a little bit different.
Yeah, although I might make some comments on things that I find a bit different. One of the things that's worth saying is that I'm still to be convinced about Python, whereas Connor is already an aficionado.
If I can make hello print, I'm aficionado enough to make the word hello print, maybe. And it
And you've already got your first error.
Yeah.
Do you need it in quotes?
It's that's right. No, I do need it in quotes. That's absolutely right. And
there we go. Bow. It's good to show everyone that we're experts.
But this is kind of the point, really. So I'm learning, and you're much more of an expert than I am, and we can make horrific. Well, I can make howlers as we go.
Yeah, it's worth saying to anyone that's watching, if you are, welcome. But the whole point of this is we hope it's a kind of a new paradigm. Rather than watching through a boring and well thought through presentation, we're going to provide you with an ill thought through, on the fly sort of response to real life problems, and it's thinking the way the way a student actually does think, with a
real life student,
with a little help from his friends. So so you've created a list.
So yeah, we're going to go through the first question and assume a little bit of prior knowledge. Assume that you can print hello. But even if you can't, you saw me struggle there, so that's fine. And we're going to go through a list of integers. We've got int list, which is our integer list. And then we're going to have a new list with all the integers from the original one multiplied by 5.
Not to start with, that's what we're going to end up with. So he's going to create a new list now, which is the thing into which we will put those values. Okay?
This is the original list. This is the new list.
Okay.
And, we're just
and picking up from what Connor just said, we're working at the point where we are. So there may be some assumptions we're making. And if you've got questions about those assumptions, then obviously feel free to raise those questions in the comments section, and we may well try and cover that with some kind of video at a later stage, or indeed direct you to one of the tutorials for Python that will answer your question.
Yeah. So what method are we going to use? Go through a list of integers, return a new list with all the integers multiplied by 5. So to iterate over a list, we're going to need some function like for I in int list, which will iterate over this int list here.
Okay, so it will go round and round in a loop, and for each one it will pick out first the 34, then the 545, then the 76, and so on.
That's right.
Okay, do you want to turn that iterate over a list into a comment?
Yes, or just even better, get rid of it.
Well, no, I think it's quite nice having some comments, because when you come back and do it later, it reminds you what you've actually done and why you've done it.
Okay.
So there's a comment, folks.
There's the comment. The first comment on our video, and we made it ourselves.
Okay, so you're now doing a for loop.
So for I in int list, this is good. Our iteration is going to iterate over the list. And we need to append to the new list.
So we're going to do it directly into the new list each time. So each time it goes around, it's going to pick up each of the int list values one at a time.
Each I, that's each one, it's going to times by 5. I.
And then you're going to stick it straight in new list.
And then stick it straight in.
Okay.
I equal I equal to I times 5. Let's see if that works. Print I. Let's see if this works. So this is no quotes because it's not a comment.
Now, it's not easy to see because your results are a little bit small. Yeah, it's only printed once. It's printed the 33 times 5, I would guess. Yeah, 33 times 5. Because you put the print I outside the for statement.
Okay.
Remember that you loops are defined by the white space, as it were. So if you simply tabbed a white space in front of print I, yeah, then in fact it would print I all through the iterations.
So that gives us, and then we got again the last one.
Yeah, because you've done that twice. So if you scroll up the results a little bit so we can see them again, you did that rather quickly. You can actually see that the first one is going to be 34 times 5. Do a little bit of quick mental maths and you can work it out. The second one is going to be 545 times 5, and so on.
So that works?
Well, it works as far as it goes, but of course you still haven't put it in the new list.
No.
So you can put it directly into the new list by doing a new list append instead of I equals.
And this needs to be in the for loop to keep that value.
Yeah.
If we do new list dot append I.
Well, you want I times 5, don't you?
I now equals.
Oh, I see, because you've increased the I. I wouldn't even increase the I would do it straight into the append. So I would get rid of that line where you've put I equals I times 5.
Well, let me disobey you. Let me see if this works.
Well,
we can then.
So you're going to print the new list, are you?
So then print new list.
Okay. Yeah, that will work.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. So you would rather just say what?
Get rid of that whole line.
Okay. So I is just the same as it is. Each element is the same.
But now in the append you need I times 5, so you're automatically multiplying it just before you append it.
So you can do that.
You can do that.
Okay. Right. And once again. Okay, so that just saves a line of code.
It saves a line of code. It saves you on storage, because when you do the I equals I times 5 in Python, you're actually creating a different instance of I. Remember that everything in Python is an object. So even the integer I is an object. And every time you modify, it's actually a non-modifiable. It's a
immutable.
Not unmutable, immutable.
Immutable.
So every time you change it, you actually create another variable effectively. So you're actually multiplying. You're doing quite a lot of variables if you keep changing I. So this way, you only have 6 different values of I. 6 different values of I, 1 for each of the values in the int list. Yeah, it's a little bit more efficient.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more Pythonic.
Haha. Well, that's good. We are trying to be Pythonic. So if there's a lot of code, then I suppose it's going to be yeah. If you got thousands of line of code, anything you can do to save a bit of space. I'm just going to comment this out.
Well, no. First of all, you've solved number one.
That's number one.
So you probably would need to copy that and do it for your coursework or whatever. But okay, you're the boss.
I'll just do it.
You're the boss. You're going to do number two now.
Okay. So number two, return the smallest and largest number from a list of integers, and then perform the same action on a list of strings alphabetically. Okay, this is important. I'm not sure about alphabetically. I don't know the functions.
You've actually, although it's only got 3 tasks here, you've actually got 4 tasks, because in number 2, it's 2 totally separate tasks. So the integers you could reuse int list, in fact.
Yeah, could do.
So if you uncomment int list, we can use that as your list of.
Let me just kind of blueprint this out here. So return the smallest and largest nums from a list of integers, and then perform this, and then do the same. Okay, from a list of strings, list of ints, then same for strings. Okay.
I think it thinks that that's, you've put that on a new line, so yeah, you need to comment that, yeah. Okay, so integers first.
Let's instantiate. We've got int list.
Don't you instantiate here.
We're going to push the button and do some instantiation, folks. Int list is going to just whatever, random numbers. And
you've done
sorted.
34 twice. It might be. Make that the second 34. Make it 23.
Okay.
And I did that deliberately, so both the biggest and the smallest numbers are not the first or the last.
Okay. All right. So I know. Let's see if this works. If we print int list, it works. So if we print sorted int list, can we do it like that? Is it possible? Oh, right, okay.
Yep, so no problem doing that.
So that's
sorted. But in fact, you don't want to print that.
We just want the smallest and largest number from a list of images. Okay, so now see, this is the thing. How good does this program need to be? Because if we sort the list, can we then just pluck ourselves? We can look at it and say, all right, well, the 0th place is 34. And the answer is no, because you have been asked to do something very specific. Return the smallest and largest number from a list of integers. So you've got to do that. If you do what you've just done, you're not returning the smallest and largest. You're returning additional things. Okay, it's clever. How do you just do a return? How do you just use that return?
You can only use it if you're in a function.
Okay.
But what you can do is you can define a new list again as the sorted list.
New int list, sorted list, sorted int list.
Okay. I don't think you even need to define it separately. You can define it straight away. So you can use the int list dot sorted on the right hand side of the assignment.
You said we don't. Excuse me.
You've defined sorted int list. And
yeah,
correct. It's understandable. But actually, if you simply get rid of those 2 square brackets and do int list dot sorted. Sorry, in this bracket sorted.
Sorted int list.
It will define sorted int list straight away. No. Oh, I see. Okay, sorry. Yeah. So if you want to check it now, print sorted int list. Okay.
Right. Okay.
So you've now got a list that is in order. So you can actually, you also know the length of a list, don't you?
The function, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know that the smallest value is the 0th
Yeah.
element of sorted int list.
Yeah.
So if you find the length of sorted int list, suppose it tells you that it's 100 integers, then the largest value will be that 100, the 100th element. Actually, it'll be the 99th element because it starts from 0, so it's always one less. Are you with me?
No. Yeah.
So you can do first of all, get the easy bit done. You can print sorted int list 0.
Yeah.
Or however you get the 0th element out of sorted int list. Just try that. Just go for the lowest first of all.
That's what I suggested. You said no, don't do that.
Did I?
Right. Yes. Yes. Or maybe you just were thinking of your own thing. Well, this now 0. So this is the 0th, which will hopefully work. Yeah, it's give us the sorted version. This is this.
No, it's
this.
just it's only given you the smallest. It's not giving you when you did it before. You did the whole lot.
Yeah, this is the sorted version of this.
Correct.
And this is the 0th position, which is going to be this one. Which is
now the other problem is to give the maximum, to give the largest int. You need to know how many members there are of sorted int list.
Let me see if I can circumnavigate this. Sorted int list -1. What about that? Is that going to work?
You try it.
And this is apparently, hypothetically, this is the last part. Yeah. So -1. This is a way of finding the last member of any list.
Well, that's good because that's easier. I would have gone a different method because I don't know Python well enough. The fact that you know how to do that makes it a lot easier.
What were you going to do?
I was going to define another integer n, which is the length of int list. Sorry, sorted int list.
Yeah.
And then I would have done print sorted int list n-1.
Oh, so it's kind of the same thing, but
yours is
exactly.
neater. Yours is yours is more Pythonic.
Hey, now it's Pythonic. Brilliant. Okay, and then we want the same. So that's the first. Like as you said, it's kind of a two-part question.
Well, what would be neat? See if you can do both of those in a single print statement.
We can do that. We have the technology. And this now should... Let me try and delete that. Let's see if this works.
Do you need to put them in round brackets within the square bracket? No, you can't do that either. Well, try put them in round brackets inside the square brackets, but I don't think that would work. No, you'd have to put the whole lot in round brackets.
Okay.
So you've made a tuple out of it.
Is that going to work? Let's try it out.
I don't think it will, but no. Okay. Okay, so go back to 0. Just do the 1. Sorted list 0. Can you do a plus space?
Plus.
Or is it ampersand? Or it is plus, isn't it?
I think that will work.
Plus. Right, but you need a space between them, so you'll have to put a space in as well.
Plus space plus.
Well, you need quote space quote.
What a rigmarole this is. Okay. Nope.
That's because you've got an integer, then a string, then an integer, and it obviously doesn't like...
Let's see if this works. Let's see if that just even works. That should work. Oh no, it's added them, has it?
It's added them, yeah.
Okay, let's just.
Okay, so what it means is that if you want to put them on one line, you've got to convert the integers to a string. Can you remember how to convert an integer to a string? And we're already talking about data types, interestingly enough.
Yes, convert an integer to a string. Str, and then whatever it is.
Okay, so put str sorted int list 0. So sorted int list 0.
Is this at the risk of making it neater? We're going to make it a lot less neat.
No, it's going to make it much neater because it's going to put them all on one line.
Okay, str sorted int
no,
list.
No, get rid of that. Get rid of that. Inside the print statement.
You turn it into a string inside.
Yeah.
Okay. So this now. Okay, that's a string now.
And then you plus. Now you can add the string, and you can even put a comma in there so it makes it look neater. So a comma space.
Comma space? What?
Yeah.
What? Like that?
Okay.
No?
Yeah, I wouldn't have put the space before the comma, but you know, I'm nitpicking now.
You are nitpicky a little bit.
And now we want the sorted int list -1.
We're going off the screen. -1. And this, we can get rid of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, try that.
Right. Crashed. No.
Because you haven't closed the bracket from the print. That's it.
Yes, that's right. Okay. There you go.
Well,
wow.
And I think that's neater. In fact, what you can now do is before the first str, you can even put a little bit more text and say the answer is, or you could start putting all sorts of extra bits of text in. You know, the shortest value equals, and then sorted list, the largest value equals. You can play around to your heart's content.
Let's just move on. Let's move on, shall we? Because I'm getting bored now. Okay, return, and then perform the same action on a list of strings alphabetically. I wonder if that sort method is going to sort things alphabetically. Let me just let's make a word list.
I don't see why it shouldn't.
Let's make a word list, and it's going to be strings.
So I think the first word should be wildebeest.
Wildebeest.
And the second one could be unicorn.
Okay, we're going with a magical theme here.
And zebra.
That's a real
zebra. So's a wildebeest. And then aardvark.
What's a wildebeest?
How about an aardvark?
What is an actual wildebeest?
It's just something. It's one of those kind of rather meaty looking.
Are you making this up now, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're making this up.
No. It's
a wild beast.
And then a couple of other animals.
Oh, let's leave it there. You've got energy. You've got more energy than me. Let's print this. Let's print word list. If a human is born in the wild, does that make them a wildebeest?
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got. So that works. All right.
So as you say, try the same.
Yeah. Let's try and print. Well,
you want your sorted, yeah.
Oops. Sorted word list. Let's see what happens. Machine blows up. No, it works. Yeah. So that has. Thankfully, I'm glad it did sort it because I haven't got any more tricks up my sleeve. So it's a good thing that one did work.
So you can basically redo the what you did with the integer. The only thing is it gets easier because you don't need to do the str bit.
And so we can do it all in one print now. We can do sorted word list, and then we can take the 0th position. So this is the first.
Okay, interesting.
You're making ums and ahs at me. Word list.
You don't learn unless you try.
0. You're warning me about something. You're warning me about sorted word list 0 plus. Where is it? It's there, isn't it? Plus. And we can have a little cheeky comma in there. Oh, you've gone quiet. This is about to blow up, isn't it?
I'm just interested to see what happens.
Oh.
You don't need the string.
No, we don't need the string because it's not a string. It's already a string, I mean. So. No, this all needs to be... what have we done? Yeah, this is the same as the previous one. Sorted word list -1. Okay, you're waiting for this to explode, so let's just do it now. Can only concatenate, which means join, list, not string, to list.
Well, I don't know what it's talking about there, but your problem is, if you look at it, inside the sorted is word list 0. Now, word list 0 is a single word; it's a single string. So, how do you sort a string? So you need to go back to the original and create a second list, which is the sorted list. So you need a sorted word list.
So because this is like a double function, because you're in the same print statement, you're sorting the list and picking out that one value. So it doesn't like that double function. Is that what you're saying?
You might be able to do this. I don't know whether Python will do it. If you delete square bracket 0 square bracket, first of all,
we know that it's going to print.
Right, because now it's sorting the whole word list, right? Now go right one tap. And now do square 0 square.
What?
Because I don't know whether that would work. I don't know how the syntax works in Python, but the point is, it's after it's sorted that you want to pick out the 0th. You've not got the round bracket from print. Okay.
Alright, so it does work.
That. So it's got to sort the whole word list first and then take the 0th character. Whereas you took the 0th character before you sorted it. Because you had the 0th character, the 0th list item inside the sorted brackets.
Okay, I take that. I take your point.
Yeah. So you can do what you were doing now. You can do the plus. So you need to do it inside the last of the round bracket, incidentally, because
Plus sorted word list -1 close bracket. Is it possible? Can this work? No.
You're going to get an error because you missed the plus in front of that last sorted.
And there you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Now it's interesting. That's quite an unusual thing to do, putting the kind of square, the index outside. Having said that, you haven't finished. Because
it wants to be appended to a new string.
No, not that. Well, you know how you do it. What I'm going to say now is it's not as Pythonic as it needs to be. Because
we can get this on one. We can get rid of these. We don't even need these.
You certainly don't need those. That's
one
number
thing.
one. But you're sorting the word list twice.
So we could just put plus word list. Oh, if we get rid of this sorted.
No, so because it won't remember the first sorted word list when you come to the second one. What you really need to do is what we did with the int list, which is create a second list which is sorted.
Yeah, append it to that new list.
So if you do a sorted word list, before the print.
Let's call it sorted words.
Okay.
Words. And that's just an empty list.
Well, again, you don't need to do it as an empty. You can define it by doing sorted word list. Yeah.
Okay.
And now you need to move that print. Yeah. Sorted words. Excellent.
So we know that works. Okay. Okay. And then print sorted word, and then we can just go ahead
and then you just do the 0 and
yeah,
the -1.
Sorted words. And we're going to need the same kind of outlay as this, right?
Yeah.
Plus blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
0 plus. Let's get that. Let's get that. Let's get that. This is a lot of faffing.
Well, get used to it. You know, there's a lot of this faffing in coding.
Does that?
No, you still need to do the sorted words as
words.
well. And it's important that you kind of sort yourself, you know, sort of get it so that it's in the right kind of quality of code as well. So that won't look any different. You'll get exactly the same answer.
Way.
But you've now only had to sort it once. And if you imagine having to do this within a loop where you're looping a million times...
Sure, it very quickly becomes too much.
Yeah, you've halved the speed at which the time it would take to actually do the whole thing.
Yeah. Okay, number 3. Moving swiftly. Write a program to go through a list of names and return the number of strings that are longer than a certain amount. Okay.
I don't know what this 3 to 5 means. So it's longer than 4 or something, I don't know.
Let's just set up an arbitrary list of names. So let's say name list equals Bob. Oh, excuse me. We want strings. Bob. Bobby.
Bobette.
Bobette. Nice. Let's represent some females.
Blobby.
Remember Mr. Blobby? Well, let's say Bobbit. There you go.
Okay.
And so return the number of strings that are longer than a certain amount. So 3 to 5.
Well, let's make it 5.
Okay. So when it says... Oh, go on.
No, go on.
Hello, Mum.
Now, if this goes out on YouTube, that will certainly make an interesting little extra.
Doesn't matter how old you are, guys. You always make time for your mummy. So when it says 3 to 5, we're talking about length, string, len dot string. It's a len function. It knows that it's already a string. So my guess is something like this is going to be the length of the 0th.
Well, first of all, you're actually going to have to iterate through the items in that list, aren't you?
Right. So when it says go through a list of names, we're talking about iterating over a list.
Yeah.
Let me just see how this looks. Let me just see if this works here, because I don't know. Okay. Right. So this gives us the length of the 0th position on name list. Okay. Right. So that's in the bag. Yeah. So as you said, we need to iterate over. So just generically for I in name list, and this is gonna I here is each thing for thing.
That's right. So I is going to be a string. It's worth saying the name that you give variables is quite important, and the danger of using I is that you usually use I of a sort of simple index number. So you might think about the fact that I is usually an integer. and you might want to call it something slightly different.
For Fatberg.
Yeah, Fatberg. That's a bit like foo, really. FOO. You could have called it name, but the danger is that name is likely to be a protected word. Yeah, so Fatberg is certainly better in that respect. It's worse in the sense that it doesn't mean anything meaningful, but it obviously means something to you.
For lucrative sponsorship in name list. If Len
of lucrative sponsorship.
Oh dear. Okay,
yeah, well,
let's just stick with that. Let's just stick with that. Okay, right. Yes. For item in list, if len of I, what is it? Less than, greater than 2, and less than 5.
Don't think that's what the question's asking. It's not between 3 to 5. It's saying if it's longer than a certain amount, and I think when it's saying 3 to 5, it's just giving you some sort of suggestion of what length you might choose.
That's so gross. Why would they? Okay.
Well, it makes life a bit easier for you because it's.
Yeah, I don't even need to write. If len I, let's just say, no longer than 5. Let's say.
Okay.
If len I greater than 5. Null. Print.
Well, again, let me sort of come back to the question. It actually wants to know how many strings are longer than that number. So I think you're quite right in doing len I greater than 5, but it wants you to keep account of anything where that's true. So you're going to have to define another integer, which is the count. And you're going to set it to 0 to begin with.
Right, we'll go through list and return the number of strings that are longer. So we want. Well, do we need to do that? If len I is greater than 5, can we just say this needs to be? I think this wants to be. Doesn't like something. Doesn't like something about that. Yeah, maybe just because there's nothing else following. I think we can just. I think. Excuse me. I think we can just print I.
Okay.
I like your technique, but then we.
But you haven't actually counted it. You've returned the actual strings that are greater than 5. So that's correct. You've returned the actual strings that are greater than 5, but you haven't returned the number of strings.
You're right. You're absolutely right. We need a counter to count.
Yeah.
We need to count. We need something, and we're going to need to print the count. Okay. If I blah 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 blah. Then if that condition is satisfied, what we want to do is we want to do count plus equal to 1. Count equals count plus 1.
Can you do that in Python?
Yes, you can.
Okay. And then you just print.
Touch wood. Let's see if this works. Yeah.
Okay. Change the number from 5 to 3 now. And it should come up, the answer should change to 3, shouldn't it?
Yes, it does, and it will, and it is. Brilliant.
Okay. Now, here's a slight suggestion to make it more Pythonic.
Okay.
Okay. Create another variable between namelist and count.
Okay.
And call it, I don't know, threshold. No, not there. Right up at the top.
Yeah. Or here.
Well, wherever.
Wherever.
All right. And make that equal 5. Okay.
Okay.
Now, if in the second if statement, change that 3 to threshold. Okay, and if you run that, you'll get back the answer 2 again. Now, the benefit of that is you have now made the actual threshold, if you like, there's 3 to 5, variable as well. So you can define that. If you had thousands of entries, you might want to make it longer or shorter, and you've made the program more flexible.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
You've not changed anything. What you did was correct. But by putting in all the variables kind of up front, it's meant that if you at a later stage you were going to change it, it's very easy to change it, and you only change it in one place. If it was a more complex program, you might be using that number in several places, but you only need to change it once.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. Yeah, no, that's right. That's right, actually, because this is kind of universal. Any time that we call threshold, it's always equal to 5. But yeah, if I was going to write 5 each time, I would have to update. Yeah, I take your point. I take your point. That's all I need to do.
And it's a good principle.
That's
exactly
a good idea.
Right. Exactly right.
And everything is going to update synergistically. Yeah. Why sit there and personally install individual Windows updates when you can just click one button and the whole thing does itself?
Exactly right.
We want more time to spend watching videos on YouTube and less time working.
Especially when those videos are our videos.
That's right. And I think that concludes our first video.
Good. Okay, so hopefully those of you that are listening, hope you've enjoyed the time and that you come back for more.
And don't forget to like, subscribe, and notification, and send us some money as well. Thank you.